Welcome back to Ribbon Candy Hooking. I'm Deanna. Happy Friday. It is great to see you. Made it to the end of the week. I almost didn't make it. It is, you can see I'm at home today. I'm sorry about that. I usually work in the studio on these special nights. We have not had a bingo night in forever, right? But I was not feeling well today, and I am feeling better now, so it is all good. I was anticipating needing to have a sort of a clipped night and immediately fall into bed, but things are definitely better now. Happy Friday to you. Happy bingo night. Happy cocktail night. Let me have a sip. Looks like my volume is low. I'm putting my volume up high just in case. Getting the fan going. Yep, that's perfect. A little bit lower, maybe a little bit lower. Yeah. Whew. It's not that hot out, but it is hot here. I think the sounds are up now. I'm going to wait for confirmation on my sound volume. Yep. Can you hear me now? I'm hoping you can. I don't want to put it all. Oh, very low. Okay. Is the sound working? Gave me a chance to take another sip. All right. Sounds good. Um, it's such a boring story, but I got to tell you, it defaulted back to number 2 out of 100. I'm telling you. All right, let's see what buddies are on tonight. Kaz, great to see you in Wisconsin. Lynn, great to see you. Thank you for your message yesterday. Linda, happy cocktail night in Massachusetts. Great to see you. And Cheryl, happy Friday. I'm going to have one more little sip. You know, when you're not feeling 100%, you have a terrible sore throat, so you need to stay, hydrated. I'm being a bit sarcastic because this is a glass of wine. This is my first glass of wine in like 2 weeks.
Can you make your screen larger when you guys do?
Oh, yeah, I can. Let me see. I am very small. I don't know what is going on. There we go. That's a little bit too big for me. I don't know about you. Lisa, great to see you. Happy cocktail night to you in Pennsylvania. Doreen, happy cocktail night. Gayla, good to see you. Linda B, all the buddies are on. It has been a really long time. And there were a lot of tickets sold this time because the last few times we did it, there weren't as many tickets. And I think it kind of petered out over the summer, as does everything, right? With people taking trips and life becoming so busy. Ironically, right? In the summer, you're supposed to slow it down a little bit when it's so hot, but you do tend to ramp up and take a lot of trips. So it is nice to be back tonight. Our jackpot is over $200 tonight, and I am going to explain the game if you haven't played Rug Hooking Bingo with us yet. I just want to make sure I know who's here and say hello to everybody. Linda Ann, good to see you. Good, we resolved the volume problem. Ryan, your first live bingo night. How fantastic is that? Friday in North Texas. I just love to know where everybody is. It's just such a cool feeling that we're all in. I wish we could see it on a map, like little hot spots, little red buttons that show where we all are. It would just be so extra cozy to know, to have that visual read. And you are having a hard seltzer. Very nice. Happy to play with you all. This is a very fun night. Very low pressure, and typically one card wins. With very few exceptions, I think we have mastered the one card formula with 12 different cards. And you should, on the bottom of your card, if you have it printed out, and I just want to remind you, if you don't have it printed out, that is not a big deal, because you could just do your hooking or whatever project you're doing and pay attention to the cards, not mark them off at all, because for whatever card wins, if it's number that wins, you will definitely get an email with the code for the amount of money off that is the number of people who bought that card divided by the pot, right? The pot divided by. So regardless of whether you're playing or not, you will win just the same. So you can only pay attention if you want. It is fun to play. Melanie, great to see you. Happy Friday in Western Washington. Joy, if you're going to say it, I'm going to do it. Cheers, my dears. Happy Friday night. Robin, 3 little glasses of red wine. I love it. My kind of girl. Happy Friday night in Wisconsin. Dave, gotta know. Friday night sausage and pep. Do you know, Linda Ann, I just left you a message about sausage and peppers. Did I not just like make a reference to sausage and peppers in the voicemail I left you like an hour ago, and beer too? Perfection. Steph, oh, great to see you in Colorado. Welcome. It is great to see you. And Stephanie, No Man's Van, great to see you. Happy Friday night. Cat's Gallery, great to see you. Oh, Barbara, great to see you in Toronto. Happy Friday. Ryan, the Mexican is good tonight. Oh, that sounds good. Mexican food. I know. I know. So for those of you that haven't played with us before, I'm going to tip myself a little bit this way. I got you on like this giant Bible stand thing that rolls, which is very handy. I swear I'm never doing another show here though. It is. I always forget how hot it is, even when it's not hot. And we will see how many times the children invade. Maybe not at all because they were sick. They both stayed home from school today. We're not sick, if you know what I mean. But we're certainly crazy, at least, and definitely a little bit congested. For me, I woke up at 4. So that's not really the same as being sick. I woke up at 4 and I said to myself, sometimes you wake up at 4 and you think those big thoughts and you're miserable and it's a nightmare. And other times you wake up and you go, oh God, I can't start to wait. I can't start to, I'm tired. Work on this project. I got to mark all these things off the list, and that's where I was at 4. Downstairs at 4:30, turning lights on, looking for Monk or Murder, She Wrote, whatever's on the Hallmark Channel at that ungodly hour. So yeah, it's more about that than anything else. Dave, right? Oh, right. I'm sorry, we're all making you hungry. So, for those of you who are playing for the first time, this is how it works. This is a bingo game. So the idea is that I will spin the wheel, which I'm not doing at this moment. Just so you know, here's the wheel, right? It's like it's this big carnival wheel that I made years ago for Jossie's birthday party, which is coming up on September 30th. So we're going to have another huge carnival in the backyard, and this guy's going to have to go back there at the prize booth for some prizes and stuff for the kids. But we made this giant carnival wheel out of this bicycle tire. You see how it's like painted different colors. It's so much fun, so much fun. But tonight we have our numbers on the wheel. So when I spin the wheel, I make the call, whatever's closest to this doohickey here, and I cut it off and I'll call the number and I'll say, like, for example, it won't be this, right? I'll say something like, again, not the game, 150. And the name of it is Clifford the Red Dog, right? Something like that. That's a copyright thing. I probably shouldn't have chosen that one. And if you have that, you would mark it off on your card. And again, you don't have to actively play. You will still win if you're not playing, if your card is the winner. But the kind of bingo that we play so that our night does not last until midnight, the cock crows midnight, right? We do blackout. With the abbreviated board. We used to do the much bigger board and it took a long time. So now we have the abbreviated board and we're looking to cross off every box. So we're not doing directional bingo. It's not top, bottom, side to side. If you forget and you shout bingo in the middle, we still love you. It's okay. But it is not a line of bingo. It is not directional. It's blackout the whole card. So that is how it's done. That is how you do it, baby. Should we get started? Let me take one more sip. Now, I used tonight a lot of antique rugs because the theme tonight is autumn. And, you know, it's just, we're right on the bridge to the holidays at this point because you know as soon as we hit October, we are going to be all tied up in like Halloween, if you celebrate Halloween and all of that. And then at that point, it is a veritable avalanche to the new year. It really is. And I have to admit, I'm already listening to Christmas songs in the car. Shame on me. I bring it forward a month every year. Good luck, everybody. That's right, Ryan. So tonight's theme is autumn. Next month for bingo night, our theme will be full blast Halloween. Tonight it's autumn. So I used a lot of beautiful, mellow, old antique rugs that have those autumn colors, those rich, really desirable colors, right? In the sort of Victorian period, right? All those beautiful, rich colors. And a few new ones. So we've got a good mishmash. I hope you like the way your cards look. When I was looking over the cards, I was thinking, these are the prettiest cards I think we've seen so far. I hope you like them too. So, good luck, everybody. Remember, we're doing blackout. Every space needs to be crossed off. And let's get ready. You're going to shout it with me, right? So nice to drink wine after a while. Wheel of Fortune. Good luck, everybody. That was a wimpy spin, but it's as good as any. First call. I've got to match it up to mine, so give me just a minute. You go by name, I go by number. So the first call is Nancy Thomas Autumn Crow. Nancy Thomas Autumn Crow. I'm going to pull it up on the screen so you can look at it and then you'll know if you have it. And if you don't have it, you can at least see the image Hang on. Why is it doing this to me? Oh! Ah! Am I in the wrong? Okay, we have a problema. Why is it, nope, that was our show the other day. Why is it not putting me, okay, I'm gonna get rid of me, get ready. Boop. Okay, all done. Sorry, that was scary. Autumn Crow. Now, some of these, the quality is fairly low, so just look at it at a little bit of a distance because, you know, stuff on the internet is not always super high quality. This is Autumn Crow by Nancy Thomas. Nancy Thomas is one of the artists. She is from like the Virginia, Washington area. Absolutely prolific, very well-known artist, very popular 80s, 90s, into the 2000s. At one point, she did a lot of rugs for Claire Murray, or vice versa. Claire Murray used her designs, licensed them as rugs. I have the rugs now, which is a nice sort of evolution. I've got most of Nancy Thomas's designs as rugs. Quite a few people have done this one, and I have yet to see Autumn Crow done as a hooked rug. I have not yet seen it finished. So if you have done this pattern, I would love to see it. It's such an unusual pattern. For me, it's not one that I've done before. I feel so daunted by this. It is, Stephanie, super lovely colors. Real autumn colors. Don't you love that pop of blue over on the right? And what about that funny kind of lilac, sort of hydrangea color right under the beak? It's unexpected, isn't it? It's like a couple of very unexpected colors in an otherwise very autumnal palette. There's something mysterious about this one because just the look of the crow, the way that he's partially hidden, right? This sort of collage of autumn leaves behind. It is a real masterpiece of a composition. It looks, I guess it's not that hard to hook, right? You could do it very graphically too by putting all the veins in the leaves and all that. I love the way, I'm guessing this is a crow, right? This isn't like, if this is a raven or something, go ahead and correct me, or a blackbird or something like that. But I love the look of his eye. It looks like a marble. It looks almost like a doll's eye with that little glimmer of light. Really, really intense. And that sharp beak, but he's still, despite that terrifying looking beak, Alfred Hitchcock looking beak, he seems to be smiling. I think that is so cute. Lynn says, I would love to do this one. I love the colors. I love the colors too. This is on Ribbon Candy Hooking. This is one of her great masterpieces. Nancy Thomas did so much with series. So from year to year, she would do like the month series and have different images for each month. And she did like the children's series where it would be a year of months, but of children doing stuff. So like at Easter, it was more geared toward like the Easter Bunny, Easter egg hunts, and toward Halloween, it was more geared to trick-or-treating. And then in other series, it was more for grown-ups where she would do more sort of abstracts or adults driving around wine country, like that kind of a theme. She did so many series that were seasonal, both seasons, months, days of the week, and states. So she covered all of those great categories. The birds, right? Oh, the birds! It's almost time. Give me in the comments your favorite Hitchcock movie, right? Because you know mine is The Trouble with Harry. But I also love the birds. There's a few that I don't like at all because they're just, to me, a bit over the top. Remember the other day when I was saying on the show, we were talking about the dark lines against white, and I said it's just like that Alfred Hitchcock movie about the guy that was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and he was sitting at a restaurant, and he heard this noise that like, beep, it tweaks his mind, and he goes psycho all of a sudden. Scary idea in and of itself. But remember how I said, what movie is that where the guy, it's like one of the early black and whites. Vertigo is fantastic. Oh, I love that one. Where the guy has got his fork on the table and he's drawing lines and it starts to look like a ski slope. I think that one is called Snowbound. I'm pretty sure. Rear Window. Oh my God. I was just thinking about that the other day with my little dog. I was thinking about the basket going up on the rope like this out the window. So scary. Do you remember Saturday Night Live when Martin Short as, God, what was his name? When he would be that like dancing, very light-footed fellow with the big alfalfa hair in the front? Ed Grimley. Remember the spoof that they did on Saturday Night Live of Rear Window with Martin Short? Fantastic. So funny. I'm going to keep an eye on that thread. All right, let me come back over here. I'm going to close. Oh, it already is closed down. So I'm going to come back to you. Get ready. Oh, I got to give some more mighty spins here. I guess I do not have mightiness today. That's what happens when you wake up at 4, right? You lose the might in mighty. All right, let's see what this next call will be, this is going to be, and I'm all thumbs here, all thumbs. Okay, this is Martina Lesser. No, this isn't. I think this is incorrect. It is our thumbnail. Can you tell me whether you have, hang on, do you have a square, the thumbnail that's the checkerboard, the thumbnail for today, the checkerboard, does yours say autumn checkerboard, or does yours say Martina Lesser, what is a scrappy rug? Because that would be a mistake. That's the text that I have to give you, but let me know if you can, because it's going to be one or the other. I meant to name it, keeping an eye on the thread, I meant to name it autumn checkerboard. It's an antique rug. So let me bring it up for you regardless, and you tell me which one this one is called on your card. This was something I was really rushing through yesterday. Autumn checkerboard. Thank you, Ryan. That's what I was hoping for. So I just didn't change my notes. Excellent. Autumn checkerboard. Look at this rug. I mean, are you kidding me? Now, we were talking the other day when we were looking at the rugs from the Wisconsin Fiber show, right? We saw a rug that had a really pronounced autumn leaves border. It might have been oak leaves like this, or it might have been maple leaves. But you remember us saying, how interesting would it be to use this border on several different rugs, because it was it could be an interchangeable border. It was very strong, and I don't want to say it was neutral, but it was this kind of a border. It works like brackets, right? It can morph, it can change, it could take on a completely different look with a different rug. This is another one of these shapeshifter borders. This is something really to think about. Look at the way this border is executed, right? All you would need, and again, think of Edward Sands Frost and his stencils. All you would need is a stencil of a maple leaf that you just cut out of a piece of printer paper, or a real maple leaf outside if you have those already. I haven't seen anything like that on the ground yet, but today I did see a squirrel running across the street with a giant black walnut, and I thought, uh-oh, time to collect the black walnuts and do some dyeing. But you know, you could take this same leaf and move it 3 times, and then just trace corner to corner so you've got pretty good symmetry between the 3 corners. And then all you got to do is grid out the center with your Sharpie directly on your backing, this postage stamp style design, right? Isn't it lovely? Steph likes this idea too. I mean, talk about a hit or miss, right? Talk about, it's not going to go wrong, is it? But you know, one of the things that's really, I think, carrying this rug, when you look at it, it occurs to me that in terms of color, this is a 19th century rug. In terms of color, and I meant to say also, I'm going to return to that thought. This was on Martina Lesser's site, Lessar, and she has like a blog with different sort of articles, right? Different entries in it. And one of them was called, "What is a Scrappy Rug?" MartinaLesser.com, Scrappy Rugs. What is a scrappy rug? I just did a video on that the other day. And what she's saying, she's basically defining the idea of a hit or miss rug. So this particular image came off of her site and that particular entry. Now, color-wise, the thing that I think is really doing it for this rug, now let's look at this because this is masterful. We have got the inside of each leaf, right, with this broken at the vein. Color-wise, it's broken in half. We have got this beautiful red maple color, this red blazing orange color on the inside of every leaf half. And on the outside, we have this weird ghostly white that makes your eye want to stop and stay, because the colors are mixed. There's all kinds of different grays, oranges, tangerines, pinks, salmons on the whiter side of these leaves. Now look at the center of the rug. How many of those squares do you think are white or light? I would say probably almost half. It's a lot. It is not a 50-50 balance between dark and light. There are very few darks in there. There are a lot of yellows, which is helping the autumn theme along a lot. There's some oranges, there's some browns, there's some leaf greens, but there's a lot of whites. And I think the fact that the center is populated with that many white tiles, and the white is carried to the outer edge of the leaves in the border, that's what's really doing the magic here. So in terms of color planning, is this difficult to execute? This is the easiest thing in the world to execute, right? And then you've just got an antique black border with some color changes in there, darker, more faded blacks, and some very vibrant, very saturated, dark, dark, dark blacks. But what a great idea this is. Can you see even putting, like, I don't want to say an oval because I think an oval would be confusing, but could you see putting a very simple rectangle in there, maybe with the antique black border, just very thin, and have it say the year or your last name or even welcome? I think that, or your initials. I think that would be well in order. I can almost see with this, because of the way the leaves are not quite meeting in the center horizontally, I can almost see a tall, skinny oval going in there, not quite touching, right, where that gap is top to bottom, and inside maybe the silhouette of your estate tree. Wouldn't that be amazing? Oh, so this is just a great sort of backbone to a rug that could do a lot of things, and a rug that could get you right through your, why am I so close? Right through your scrap pile, your hit or miss stash. There we go. That's a little bit better. All right. And our next call is very unimaginative hallway rug. Hallway rug. There's a reason it's called hallway rug. Let me see. Let me bring this up for you. Yep. All right. We got this. Hallway rug looks like this. Now, the reason it's called hallway rug is because this is from the Henry Francis DuPont collection at the Winterthur Museum, and it is actually called hallway rug. So not super romantic, but hey, it is what it is. What a beautiful rug. So this whole, I'm taking this text that I'm about to read you from the website for the Winterthur Museum, which is Winter and then THUR. That's one word, and that is the Henry Francis DuPont House. So this is called Hooked Rug, Unknown Maker, from Waldoboro, Maine. I don't know if it's sculpted. It could be that part of the border is sculpted. I don't think so. I'm not going to fool too much with it, but I could make it a little, no, I don't want to fool too much with it. I'm scared on a big night like this when we have lots of buddies watching. Try one more time. I can't resist. You know I can't resist, right? I'm not going to pull it crazy, but it could be that part of the red border is sculpted. I can't say for sure. You know, isn't it interesting when you do look at Waldoboro rugs, whether they are textured rugs or sculptural rugs or not, there is such a pull toward doing a rug with a black ground, with a lot of the army green, khaki green, drab green, which is far from drab. It's just a good dull color in your dark light, dull bright palette. But doesn't this region historically lean toward this kind of burnt red? I mean, so many of these rugs have a white and neutral sort of off-white ground with this very shade of red. I would guess that it is because this is a color that can be produced from berries locally or leaves. I would guess because it's always the same red, and I'm happy for that because it's such a striking and distinctive color. Two of the rugs in the Winterthur collection are similar in design and color. We're going to see the other one later in the show, to this hallway rug. And one may be the exact rug at Chesterton House. That's where these rugs were on display. Winterthur's records date both of these rugs between 1840 and 1860. Now, since then, we have a lot of information that puts the beginning of making a rug by pulling up strips through backing with a hook at 1860. So it might be that the research has changed. It certainly has changed over the years from being Egyptian to being around 1860, but not really before, at least not before to the extent that we can confirm anything before 1860. And originating in Waldoboro, Maine. Of course, some of these websites have older information, as you would expect, right? As American hooked rug expert Mildred Cole Pelado explained, and of course she wrote the book on the Maine rugs, right? And she includes a huge amount of Waldoboro rugs in that book. They were known for their raised three-dimensional designs that were clipped or sheared to create a smooth, velvety texture. In addition, Waldoboro rug designs are distinguished by a central oval filled with flowers, baskets, wreaths, fruit, or animals. And so, in this regard, these Winterthur rugs are uncharacteristic of the Waldoboro style. An excellent example of the Waldoboro rug, a Waldoboro rug in the Winterthur collection, was donated to the museum in 1956. This is this one. Although DuPont did not collect it himself, right? So this isn't one of the ones that he chose. He most certainly would have appreciated the rich colors and the exquisite design. And remember, I'm just going to say for people who weren't with us during the coffee time when we were talking about Waldoboro rugs not that long ago, the origin, as has been told, right, in many books, a story that has been repeated many times, the origin of the Waldoboro rugs comes from winters when funerals were difficult because the earth was frozen, and of course there was not flowers were not happening. You know, in many communities, if somebody passed away in the winter, they would try to keep them somewhat fresh until the ground thawed and they could have a ceremony in the spring. Other places did not do that. So in Maine, they would go for burying right then and there no matter what, but they would not be able to get the flowers. And that was upsetting to a lot of people, that the entire sort of tradition of the burial was not part of this person's death because of the season. It seems really unlucky and unfair. So people started to make rugs that had a three-dimensional look to them so that it looked like a bouquet of flowers sitting on top of the coffin as it went down into the ground. The rugs would stay on the coffins, like a little bit of a blanket, but it looked like a three-dimensional bouquet because it was the best substitute for real flowers at that time. Interesting, right? Interesting. All right, let's go. Looks like I'm going to come straight down here. I think it's going to be this one, actually. Let's see. Next call is Autumn Bouquet. Oh, Linda Ann, that's okay. It was called Hallway Rug. That was the last one. And this one is called Autumn Bouquet. And this one looks like this, not this. This is the one that was just called Autumn Bouquet. Is coming at ya. Looks like this. This is out of focus. Sorry about that. I should have pulled it off of my own website, Ribbon Candy Hooking, because this is a rug that I have made, that many people have bought this pattern. This is a really lovely 19th century rug. Again, this, I'm calling this autumn. No, I screwed that up good. Hang on. Wait a minute, let me come back to you for a second. Hang on. Okay, so that is the right rug, but it should be called Poirot Bouquet. Can you let me know? I'm so sorry about this. I'm telling you, I was not in good shape yesterday, and I was trying to get this done. For this rug, Poirot flower pot. Thank you, Ryan. So I didn't update my papers. You're good. I have to stick with my instincts. That one, this one here, it is the correct call, is called Poirot flower pot. Let me come back for you. The reason I called it that is because I love Agatha Christie and I love the Hercule Poirot mysteries, and they're set in the 1920s, more like 1930s for Poirot. But it has that look, doesn't it? It has that deco look. I'm just so in love with this original rug. I'm so in love with the shape of the vase, with the wine color of it, with this kind of tawny brown in the background that they ran out of. Isn't it just great to see this? And the sad thing is, you know that the person who made this must have been so livid that they ran out of the brown color in the background. But years later, 100+ years later, you look at a rug like this and you think, oh, it is just the fact that they ran out and they just had to make do. That's what this craft is about. That is so, so extra appealing for me. The thing I really love about this rug is the symmetry. It's not exactly symmetrical, right? If just follow your eye, follow around it a little bit, there's a few little tweaks and changes, and certainly that central flower is not exactly central. So that's interesting. One of the things I love is the way that they broke down the petals and the leaves on a few of the flowers. They only had a few colors to play with, but they broke them down, and other flowers look like they had other colors in them that were either pastels to begin with, or really the dyes broke down over the years and they've really faded into much more mellow colors. But what I really love about this rug is the fact that whether it has always been this way or not, and I cannot see the back of the rug because it was not available on the original auction site where I found this, I think it was Christie's, the stems are mostly this ivory color or this champagne color. Isn't that charming? As a result, where the leaves are, because they've done the vein on the leaves in the brown color, they almost look like little coffee beans, don't they? All those little leaves. There's so much sort of connotation in this rug that's so appealing to me. The sort of deco look to it, these big fat roses that are patched out like patchworky colors, the symmetry and the sort of Greek feel to this fine filigree vase, and then that massive color block of a change that I don't at all think was planned, but was just like a you got to be kidding me moment, right? Absolutely love this rug. All right, let's see what's next. Let me give it a mighty spin. I can't believe I'm this close to you. I got to back you up a little bit. This is a little too close for comfort, isn't it? God knows what you can see. I was doing some good tweezing and stuff, but God knows what you can see. All right, let me come back here. I keep going to the same spot. I'm going to have to give a much more mighty spin. Then this is for me, number 15. For you, this is going to be Invaluable. And wait till you hear this story. Let me pull this up for you first. And this call, Invaluable, looks like this. Now, what do you think of this rug? Are you in love with this rug, or are you just like, nah, it's a hit or miss? I have to say I'm so in love with this rug. I'm going to tell you the heartbreaking part first. This is a 19th century rug. This is a real beauty. It might be, this is the entire rug. It was cropped in the auction photo. It was sold on Invaluable, the website. That's why I just gave it the tag name Invaluable. I love the colors of brown in this. I don't know if the person was working on a commercial pattern and started hooking. It could have been another composition that was a wreath of leaves, right, with an open center, an oval center. And it could be that the person who was making it either thought, I'm never going to make it with what I've got. I can only do X amount of leaves and then I'm done. Or if it's an original pattern and they really did not have a lot of any one material. I mean, if you picture this, I mean, the browns would have been, not, I think even that the same brown, we're seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5.5 leaves of the same brown. That's the most constant color in the composition. That would have been even less than like a pair of pants, right? Even if this is a quite large rug. So interesting, interesting. The rest of it is completely shot up with crazy hit or miss. And it is not directional. There seems to have been the desire to put lights in the center, almost like a light oval in the center. And that kind of fell by the wayside too. So who knows what was going on. Ryan says, love that this 19th century person just did their own thing. Absolutely. What a treasure. And you hope that they weren't frustrated while they were doing this. You hope that they didn't consider this a failure, because this to me is so outrageously striking because of the story that is embedded in it. All of this running out, look at all of the clothing and scraps that are represented. It does make you wonder, how did they have access to so many tiny amounts of so many different colors, right? Linda Ann said, this rug reminds me of the fall when it rains and there are leaves in the water on the sidewalks and roads. That is so, so lyrical and beautiful. It's true. It is like when they fall down and you get those kind of rainbow slicks in the road, right, on the pavement that look like all kinds of pastel rainbow colors. It's so beautiful when that happens. Don't you wish beautiful things like that happened every single day? But I guess they just can't, right? They just can't. Anyway, the heartbreak with this rug is, I'm going to put it to you, and let me see if you answer before I get there. How much do you think this sold for on Invaluable? So this was built as an antique rug. It was being sold on an auction website online that is quite large, and a lot of people know about it. And it didn't have a lot of description, but you know, rugs of this age never have a lot of description. There's hardly any provenance. It's always a thing. What do you think that this rug sold for on Invaluable? While you're thinking, I'm just going to give it a mighty spin so we're ready for next time. Sorry, that is so loud, isn't it? I'm going to tell you because there's a delay with our Hoosie Madoozie. get ready, get ready, get a Kleenex ready, right? This rug sold for $15, 1.5. And so I guess, I mean, I was certainly asleep at the wheel for this one. I didn't even see it when it popped up. Oh, Ryan says beautiful things happen every day. Great thought. Oh, they do. They do. I guess I don't catch them every day. That's the thing. But yeah, maybe it's just trying harder is part of it. So $15. I mean, ain't that a crying shame? It just broke my heart to hear that because I feel like this is an important rug. It might be that it's not in great condition, but I'll tell you, I would have had it for 15 plus any crazy amount of shipping and then those stupid fees that they put on these online auctions. I just think that was a sort of a travesty. I see a face in the center, Melanie. Oh my gosh, I think I do too. Is the face like at the big white part? Like the face is kind of tilted to the left, and it's almost like a skull around the top left, and then at the bottom right, there's kind of a square chin with a little pink lip that's kind of curling up in a smile, and maybe there's like a blue eyebrow and nose line right to the right of the eye that's kind of looking down at us. I definitely see a face now. That is so cool. You know, this is coming through now as this ghostly Halloween type of a rug. Now that you say that, that is so interesting. I wonder if anybody else sees that. Beautiful. I'm going to move on to our next rug, and it was this one. It is the other Martina Lesser rug. Let me tell you what it's called. Let me pull it up first. This one is called, I think this one is just called Martina Lesser. So again, this is one of the other rugs. This is a new rug that was done on the Martina Lesser website, possibly by Martina herself. But this was, again, from that entry called martinalesser.com, Scrappy Rugs. What is a Scrappy rug? This is one of the other rugs that I pulled from that because there were quite a few rugs, but a couple of them did have an autumn theme. Now, I really love this rug as well. It is a lot of the same color, but you know why that works so well is because in the background, look at this very unusual, yeah, lots of oak leaves. Look at this very unusual background that is a hit or miss background. It's very structured. It's very thoughtful. This is the kind of boxing in method of tracing around all the different motifs, in this case, leaves, tracing around them and kind of filling them in a little bit, sometimes striping them vertically, horizontally, sometimes boxing right to the center until you can't go anymore. But the way that the background colors are operating here in this hit or miss style, it's almost like a Mexican mola. Do you know what I mean? With so many very pronounced lines, so many color changes. The lines are so strong in the hit or miss background of this rug. Oh, it's listed as oak leaves. I'm sorry, Ryan. I got you. Okay, so this one is listed as oak leaves. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you helping out with this. Oak leaves. Sorry about that. Again, I was not doing super well yesterday, and I was still trying to squeeze through. And I'm not always that high functioning when I'm not feeling well. But oak leaves, thank you. I thought you were just remarking that they were indeed oak leaves. I really love this. And one of the other things I really love about this rug is that the red on the border seems different to me than the red on the leaves. It seems more faded and more orange. I kind of like that. I don't know why. It's like there's a story happening on the center, and the border just reads a bit differently for me. It has a bit of an ethnic feel to it, I think because it reminds me of a Mexican mola so much. But what a beautiful rug, right? What a gorgeous rug. So I'm going to, you know why I think I'm not turning this really hard? I'm going to push it back a bit. It's because it's loud, and I'm afraid I'm going to do you in. Bring it over here so you know I'm not cheating. I don't want to burst your eardrums, you know. So let's see. Let's see what we got here. I gotta pick up my pace a little. I always say that. Let me see. The next call is going to be Crow and Berries. You're not going to believe this. Crow and Berries. So let me pull that up for you. And incredibly and coincidentally, this is also a Martina Lesser pattern. Those are the three that I have for her, and they pretty much came back to back. What are the chances of that happening out of 32 images? That is kind of remarkable. But this is Martina Lesser, and again, this piece is called Crow and Berries. This pattern is available at Martina Lesser, lesar.com. Another amazing pattern. She is so good with color. I think I might have popped the color on this a little bit. I tipped it a little bit to make it a little bit brighter for us. So it might be less yellow than this on the website. But man, I love this image. Just looking at it quickly, look at the sort of posture. Look at the shape of the bird. It is not realistic, but it is so good. It is so evocative. It's so it has an autumn feel to me. It has a little bit of a Halloweeny feel to me. It's a little bit of an unnatural pose. I like the way that his body is sort of arching to mirror the shape of the branch that the bird is standing on. I just love it. It does, you know, Linda Ann, it does have the look of Magdalena, and I think that's probably because Magdalena, when she didn't sign her pieces, Magdalena Bryner Eby, the famous Pennsylvania 19th century rug hooking maker, right? She was not famous in her lifetime, but she is now. Her signature, and she did not sign her things again, but her way of signing when she wanted to was to have a crow with a berry in its beak. So this is super, super reminiscent of Magdalena. That's a great call, Linda Ann. I didn't catch that. It is really, Linda, it's really Magdalena all over, because Magdalena also loved her giant sort of rainbow lamb's tongues in the corners. She often put them besides the corners, like right the way around, and often irregular, but very often she had four, one in each corner, and they were often large, scaled the way that these are, and a proper rainbow. So I don't mean red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. I mean lots of color. I absolutely love this piece. This is what you do with a black bird when you need to shade it out. A little bit of gray tipping underneath. Look at the eye, right? Isn't that just what a bird looks like? I know I've said this before, but I'm going to have to find this. I'm going to have to find the haiku book I used to look at all the time when I was like in college. I don't even know if I still have it. But there was one haiku that always stood out to me that was something like, I'm never going to get it word for word, but the idea was that this view of the outdoors in a snowstorm, and the whole world is covered with snow and buried with snow, and nothing is moving except the eye of a blackbird. And I thought that is such a beautiful image. Like he's there on the branch poised like that, and the only thing moving is his eye, like not even his wings or his body. Just so neat, isn't it? Beautiful, beautiful piece. Look at the way the leaves are broken down in the background, this kind of stained glass look. It is, she's adding a lot of color that really does need to be there, because she's got color in the corners, but it's so exciting to have all this kind of what looks like, you know, those crystal candies. It almost looks like glass, those things on sticks that you use as stirrers, those sort of, what do they call those things, those sugar things that you stir with? It almost looks like that. It's so sort of fractured with many colors, mirrored rainbow colors. It's such an exciting color palette, such an unusual color palette. Really reads as a great autumn rug too. All right, let's see. Oh, we are doing it. All right, this one is going to be Rusty Autumn Scrolls. Rusty Autumn Scrolls, and I'm going to show you what this looks like. Rusty Autumn Scrolls. There we go. Oh, this is such a beauty. This is obviously another very old rug. This is a 19th century rug. Probably working from, my guess would be, and again, shame on me, I do not have all of the old patterns memorized. One of these days, this is going to be one of my great hobby things, memorizing the old patterns, like really memorizing them. I would bet a lot of money that this is a Garrett Bluenose pattern, just because of its age, because of the way that it looks, because Garrett Bluenose did so much in the 19th century with this exact kind of very architectural scroll. We're not talking about a florid scroll, we're not talking about a leafy scroll, we're talking about a very architectural scroll. Looks more like ironwork. They were kind of the masters of this look. And then in the middle, very stylized flowers. So this I might be wrong. This could be an heirloom. It could be an Edward Frost. But my guess is it's a Garrett Bluenose. It's a beautiful pattern. Somebody had a lot of this rusty salmon color and a lot of this orange palette, and it does make you wonder, doesn't it? I'm guessing this is dyeing happening, because, I mean, who at this time would have had this much of this color. And it doesn't, we don't have any reason to think this is all wool, because most rugs from this time were not. But that's just a lot. Unless somebody was cutting up a dress or something like that, which is not impossible. I'm seeing a lot of antique black. Now, black is a color that you would have gotten often because of work clothes. And the people who are making these rugs were people who would be working, right? If you were of the toppermost, poppermost class, you are not going to be sitting around doing crafts in the evening. You're going to be entertaining and think about Downton Abbey, right? Participating in that kind of a life. You're not going to be doing this. So it's very typical to find nice blacks and a nice variety of blacks. That's how we get this many blacks in one rug. But I'm also seeing a lot of army green. And that's saying to me almost 100% army uniforms, army blankets. What else, right? That's exactly the right color for Civil War era uniforms and blankets. So that makes a lot of sense. But just an unusual color palette. And I think that the maker of this was worried enough about running out of black that they decided to vein out the flowers and the leaves in the central motif in the army green instead. Because it would be kind of a more typical thought to do it with either the black or the darker red, but they seem very, very conscious of the fact that they have limited supply of both. And I bet they felt like they were making tough choices at the time. I think they made perfect choices. The piece of kind of missed symmetry for me is in the middle, how there's that lighter spring green on 3 of the 4 leaves, and that green is present just northwest of it. I would have loved to have seen, even on a rug of this age, I would have loved to have seen at least those 4 pieces in that color. But you know, who's going to take the time to pull stuff out and go back to it at this point? Working by candlelight or God knows what, right? Ryan says, love the waves of green in the black background. Absolutely, absolutely. And this is almost like an x-ray. When you see a maker that worked like this, like the one we were just looking at that we said, oh, it looks a bit like a Mexican mola in the background, right? The Martina Lesser. This, and we know how she was working because we could see the shapes that she was making in the background. We can see the shapes that this maker was making too. They were figuring it out as they went along 100%. And isn't that interesting? Melanie says Civil War uniforms weren't green, mostly blue and gray. That's true. So what am I thinking of for the green? Am I thinking of World War I? That would make this a 20th century rug. But I might be. Are army blankets green yet? I don't know. I feel like I have 19th century wool blankets that are this color green. But I could easily be mistaken. Absolutely could be mistaken. If somebody knows more, let me know, because I love to learn on these shows too. Love it. And I can save it for next time as well. So, you know, this is like classic striation action happening here. But it's just interesting that they weren't going for one look, like let me just do horizontals, let me do kind of concentric rows around the central motif. They were kind of shaping some stuff out, and then with the other stuff going, yeah, I don't know, I'm just going to do it this way. And we get this so often with these older rugs, and it really is what makes them valuable. The rugs that seem to go for the most money that are this age really do have this look in the background, because I think part of the charm and appeal of a rug that you're buying as an investment is you really want to see how it was made. You really want some kind of proof where there is no provenance. You really want to feel pretty satisfied that it's an older rug. And when you see this kind of folky, when I say amateur, I do not mean that in a derogatory way, as you know. But when you see this kind of amateur type grappling with placement of colors and filling in of the background, you know that you're looking at the work of someone who is figuring it out as they go. And when you're investing in folk art, that is just what you want. Melanie says, no, green didn't come in as an army color until World War I. So it could be that this rug is a little bit older, or it could be that that's not army green. I mean, that could be something that is dyed. It's hard to know. There was absolutely no information about this rug. I think this was a Sotheby's, and it just said antique rug, but not years given. So no provenance on this one. Oh, Gail, good morning in Australia. Great to see you. So yeah, that poses some questions. Either this is indeed an earlier rug, a 19th century rug, and they have done the dyeing, or it's a bit later, like heading more toward the 1910s, and then we are using the army uniforms and blankets. Interesting. I guess we will not know with this specific piece, but it's definitely something interesting to think about and talk about. And close your ears for a second. That is just, maybe I can do something with this to make it a bit less loud, you know? I don't know what that would be. kind of silencer on our spinning wheel. That would be a little bit crazy, huh? All right, so let me see. 30 for me is for you. Hang on, that's right at the end. Okay, it's another Nancy Thomas. It's Nancy Thomas September. September. Let me pull that up so you can see what that looks like. And it looks like this. Come on. There we go. Let me see if I can pull it a little bit bigger for you. Another beautiful one. This is from Nancy Thomas's children's series. So this was her monthly series, and it was geared for, you know, the lives of children and occupations of children throughout the year. And just really, Will Noyes doesn't. Oh, okay, thank you for letting me know. It is. It's like one of those games. It's like that classic. Remember, were you ever like a kid playing games when you weren't supposed to be, like Parcheesi, and you had to like figure out a way because you were like playing with a friend or a sibling and you were supposed to be asleep? Had to figure out a way to stifle. Remember that bubble thing that went, and it would be like trying to press it so slow and quiet under the blanket because it was like a dead giveaway if the parents heard it 3 rooms away, right? That kind of a thing. I love this piece, September. It is so whimsical. One child working, the other child having a bit of a break. I love the sort of canopy of trees that she's created here with just a pattern of leaves with fruits. It's so happy, it's so hopeful, it's so plentiful. So many apples in the basket, so many still on the tree, and so many on the ground. It just gives you the feel that it's endless. It's going to be endless fun. Lots of sort of bounty. Interesting that she's put some of the trees that are forward into the dark color, and then the trees that are in the background lighter, almost like they're being lit from a different source. That's really interesting. Beautiful clean white ladder. She's just so good at this exact moment, capturing these moments from childhood that are so charming and memorable, and just a beautiful moment in time. Great big apple basket too. I really love all her work. I have not gone through her catalog lately, and I really should. It's up again in the Ribbon Candy Hooking Store. I don't often take a lot of time to look at my store. I don't have a lot of time. Incidentally, I just want to remind you, in case you are in the same area where I am, I'm in Connecticut, and I will be traveling tomorrow to Jamestown, Rhode Island, for a meeting with the Little Rhodey Thrummers. And they are not an ATHA chapter anymore. They are their own group. They're having a talk on natural dyeing. Peggy O'Connor's giving that talk. It's going to be very fun. It is the first meeting of the year. It is $20 to join for the year, and the year goes from September to, I think, May. And all of those great meetings in between with speakers. I will be one of the speakers this year. I don't know what month yet, but I will be there one of these months. So lots of interesting things happen, lots of fun, and I'm really looking forward to seeing people I have not seen in a very long time there, including my friend Haley from Loop by Loop, right? She's Dion Fitzpatrick's niece, and she's in Warren, Rhode Island, the town where my mother was born, one town over from where I grew up. And she's a buddy of mine that I hardly ever see, so she's going to be there, and that will be very nice. I thought about putting the word out to some of my grade school friends and saying, does anybody want to go for dinner or anything like that, like after the ATHA, it's not ATHA, I'm sorry, after the Little Rhodey meeting. And then I thought, such a dirty skunk that I am, I thought, do I want to get together and have to be somewhere at a certain time for dinner, even with people I really love? Or, as I'm by myself, which I never am, do I want to be driving around looking at antique stores and bookstores? That sounds a lot better, doesn't it? I can just stop and get a piece of pizza somewhere or something, but it sounds so good cruising around looking for stores and things, you know. We'll see. I'll tell you if I find anything, and I'll post pictures if I find anything interesting tomorrow. All right, I think we are here. I got to speed it up a little bit. Next call is going to be Doris Leblau Runner. It should be called Doris Leblau Runner. Let me pull that up for you. This is a remarkable piece. If you have very deep pockets, this could be yours. I think this is, I know this is currently on the website. Let me make this a little bit bigger. This is a tiny fraction of an absolutely enormous runner. It could be a stair runner. If you don't have one of the Newport mansions or a Gilded Age mansion in general, it would be hard to place this rug. It was, I can't remember what the dimensions were, but it is on Doris Leblau's website. Leblau is spelled Leblau. It is a remarkable runner, beautiful autumn colors, using as a neutral ground, not black, not white, but dove gray. And how great does dove gray go with russet orange, wine color, salmon color, sage green, celadon? I mean, it's just absolutely the beautiful unifying color for the background. I love these kind of sort of penny rug design on the border. This is a really large runner, and this rug is $18,000. So it's not, maybe that's like gives you sticker shock just hearing that number, but for a rug this size, that is a 19th century rug that does have a remarkable amount of work all over it. But I mean, this border is a border that you do not see every day. It does look like it's mimicking a penny rug. It's very unusual. And then a very structured rectangle inside of it. And it looks like it's almost going to become some kind of a prayer rug, that kind of an Eastern European rug. Almost looks like birdhouses now, right? I mean, this is an old rug, but this looks like it could be a border of birdhouses in today's sort of aesthetic and language. But unexpected, right? Unexpected. And then in the center, even more unexpected, a very cubist breakdown of a kind of hit or miss abstract floral. Very, very unexpected. A lot of outlining being done in different shades of green, mostly warm, right? Lots of warm greens in here. Lots of different shades of red and rust and all of that, all of those great autumn colors. Again, lots of white, lots of neutrals, champagne, sort of eggshell, parchment color, different shades of gray, sand. Really, really different, isn't it? I just find this to be remarkable. And if you have $18,000, fantastic. And I can't think of a better way to spend it, particularly if you need a runner, right? Or for just collecting. It is such a remarkable piece. Doris Leblau has an amazing collection of rugs. So if you have time over the weekend, maybe go to her site and check out these rugs. She's got pages of hooked rugs and handmade rugs, and then she's got a lot of other kinds of rugs too, woven, right? But for our interest, if you're only interested in the hooked rugs, she's got lots of those. The next call is indoor games. Indoor games. This is another one of my great favorites from this episode. I think my favorite was the checkerboard. This is my second favorite. You can see I like checkerboard, right? Indoor games is the one that we named this one. This is another antique rug, so it is an old rug. It does not have a title. There's so much going on here that I think is just remarkable. It does look like it could be a game board. It's such a celebratory, happy rug. Doesn't it look like it has a bit of a wood grain effect around it? It makes you wonder whether the person who made it was thinking of some kind of a checkerboard or chessboard. It could be like a postage stamp quilt, too, that they were thinking about. It could well be, because if you look at that center medallion, the center square, it's tipped, and it really does look like a quilt pattern, right? All sort of one patch. When you do a quilt that's made with all the same size patch, it's called a one patch. It means there's only one template. The template is this one square, that's your patch. But this is so remarkable. It's almost like they attempted to do this trompe-l'oeil kind of a thing with the browns to make it look like wood. Like it almost looks like barn wood with kind of staples or something around the molding. It's very, very different. I don't know if that's just accidental the way that it happened, or if they had in mind this kind of trompe-l'oeil idea. But regardless, this is a remarkable rug. You know, the rug market has changed so much in the last 10, 15 years. If this rug came up for auction, I would say like in the 80s, let's say 1985, smack in the middle, I would fully expect this rug to go for something like 20, 25,000. It's so different. It's old and it's different. Now this rug would probably go for 3,000 to 5,000. That would be a very low price for it, but that's just where these kinds of rugs are at this point. The oldest profession. That's right, Maria. Absolutely. A couple of them represented here, right? Being a carpenter and being a hooker, right? Are those the two, or are there others that I don't know about? You got to tell me. You got to tell me. I love the checkerboard, and what I really love about this checkerboard is, you know, I think if I were going to approach a rug like this, I would be thinking I can't possibly do checkerboard in the four corners as well as the center, because that's too much checkerboard. But as it turns out, it's not too much checkerboard. It is just the right amount. And if you look at the borders, that has been color planned as well. The center has been color planned. It sticks very strictly to the color plan. The borders have also been color planned. Look at how perfectly they have been executed to mirror each other. It really does have a quilt feel. It almost looks like a trip around the world kind of a quilt with the color changes the way that they are. It's a remarkable piece. Ryan says, been waiting for the indoor games. It's my favorite tonight. Oh, right. The given name lends so much whimsy about the rug. Board games on a rainy day. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's just what I was thinking. My kids love video games. I love board games. Yeah, I can't. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes when I'm in a horrible mood, I can sit and play Bejeweled for a good hour. I mean, that's the most I could ever do without having a panic attack because I've always got plenty of work to do. But yeah, board games all the way, right? All right. Let's keep trucking. Yep, it's 8 o'clock and we are not halfway there. So let me keep trucking. Next call is going to be Autumn Oak. Autumn Oak. Let me show you what that looks like. Autumn Oak. There we go. Now, this is a blue nose. I know that for sure. We see a lot of these, right? So sometimes we get oversaturated, just like songs like Hotel California, right? Sometimes sometimes too much. But this one is done a little bit differently, and I thought it was well worth remarking on. This has such, I mean, the oak, right, is a great, like, New England Canadian symbol. What I really love about this rug are the twigs, right? I love the symmetry of it. This is a quarter rug, meaning if you were to fold it into quarters, that is your pattern, right? You fold your piece of tracing paper or printer paper into quarters. You do this design once, you decide you love it, and you literally transfer it exactly the way that it is to the other four corners, and it makes this beautiful diamond in the center, pinched diamond, right? And I love how these twigs are coming up almost like wishbones. To me, that seems, in a rug that is otherwise fairly basic, not unlovely, but fairly basic, those twigs that look like wishbones to me are the prestige. They are the romance of this rug. I also love the way, and I think it's a coincidence, that this rug, like one of the earlier rugs that we saw, the person decided to split the rug in half, maybe because of running out of material, and color out the red on the outer half of the rug. Now, when we saw the earlier example, it was the white that was used on the outer edge. In this case, it's the red. I think it's so smart. If this is all the red that you've got, this is the perfect use of it. This is exactly where you've got to put it. Without a doubt, let your eye travel around. Your eye could not possibly put those four leaves, well, maybe the very corners, but in putting them into the leaf in this position, it creates a very strong horizontal, doesn't it? The thing with this rug, and it's just my opinion, there is some fantastic directional hooking, horizontal hooking. Look at that, straight across. Think about the rug we were looking at earlier that had that busy marble cake in the background where they were piecing it out as they went, right? I think that was the Invaluable rug, or maybe it was one after that. But this is not that. Somebody has traced this out perfectly. They saw what it looked like. They tried to trace the lines with their hooking, possibly yarn. I'm thinking it probably is yarn because this is probably a Canadian rug. And then they did this exquisite, very careful directional hooking straight across. Now this has the possibility of becoming boring, right? But it looks and it feels like this person really enjoyed making this piece. There is an energy to it, and I can't say why, because there's not tons of bells and whistles happening here. I feel like I would love to see a date on the inside of this rug, or a house number, or something like that. A motto, a simple motto, scatter joy, Nathaniel Hawthorne, something like that, something simple. Absolutely, absolutely love the design. And I've seen this rug a million times, but I did think that this one was especially pretty. It was subtle. It was very limited color palette. I see other possibilities here. I would even be tempted, you're going to hate me for saying this, but if I had a rug like this, I would be tempted to very carefully pull some of the, I'm sorry, but it's true. I'd be tempted to pull a little bit of the center out and put the year in there, or initials in there, or something in there that was meaningful to me that I would think about before I just started ripping apart a rug. I would be tempted to do that and turn it into a bit of a joint project, unbeknownst to the original maker, right? I'm going to spin again and come back to you. Let's see what we got. This is what we got. Next one is for me 25. For you, gosh, I'm so tired. I'm like seeing double. How crazy is that? Or maybe my glasses need to be changed again. The next one is, it says designed by Teresa Kugo. Was I stupid enough to do that? Let me show you what it looks like. I'm definitely stupid enough to do that. Absolutely. Let me close this one. This is not it. This was the previous call. And the current call is, see, a bunch of orders are coming in. I'm wondering if people are ordering bingo cards right now. I don't know if that's even possible. This one, what is that called for you? Is that called designed by Teresa Kugo? Which it might be. Teresa Kugo is such a great punch needle primitive designer, and a lot of this might be, I don't know. I think this is regular hooked. A lot of her designs have been executed as hooked rugs, right? Larger scale hooked rugs. I don't know if there's a particular company that licenses her rugs. I'm guessing there must be. I know that Spruce Ridge does the Not Forgotten Farm. It's the same kind of work, right? It's the same kind of very folky sort of miniature. Folk Crow. Thank you, Ryan. Folk Crow. So this call is Folk Crow. Thank you, Linda Ann. Really beautiful. So original designer Teresa Kugo, and I think I actually found this on Amazon. So I don't know what it's doing there. It might be that a rug company picked up the pattern, and you always hope that when they do that, particularly if they are abroad, yeah, it is from Amazon, and it's not in stock, and there was no information. It has been known to happen. I'm going to bring you back. It has been known to happen because it happened with our friend Crystal. Sometimes images are like pirateered, right? People just steal them. It's very hard to get vengeance, to get your own back, to get any money for them. It's a tough situation right now with the world being as large and open as it is, and hackers being so effective. So sometimes you do see rug patterns that are not licensed, and that is very bad news. I'm hoping this isn't one of these because I have never otherwise seen a Teresa Kugo finished rug this size on Amazon. If she is starting to license with like a big rug manufacturer, I would say fantastic. That is a dream. That is a dream stream of income that comes in. But I'm just not sure. As I say, I found this on Amazon and there was no information other than it was not available. I thought it was beautiful, and when I saw the name Teresa Kugo, I thought she is one of my favorite artists. This is a lovely rug. This is a great example of a basket rug, but it's so much more than a basket rug. It's got like a couple of hat tips to Benjamin Franklin with his rising or setting sun, right? The crescent, the sun in the middle kind of gives you the idea of the rising or setting sun. And then the corners, that kind of compass rose design, really looks like the back of the famous Benjamin Franklin chair that he famously said, you know, had a pattern of a sun on it. Is the sun rising or setting? And he was making a sort of a metaphorical reference to the new country and whether it was going to be a success or not. But it's pulling a little bit from that chair and from designs that relate and are associated with Benjamin Franklin. But beautiful elongated crow, beautiful baskets and stars. It's just a very, very, very different pattern. I would expect to find this in like red, white, and blue colors, and the fact that it's not, it's more in autumn colors, I think is really, really charming. Very, very different. Give it another spin. And, ooh, this one is obvious. We are here. Oh, gosh. Sorry, I didn't come back to you. This one, the next call is going to be Autumn Rose. Autumn Rose. Okay, Karen says she used to sell rug patterns and just announced she is going to again. Fantastic. Karen, thank you. I love her rug pattern. I love her designs. I mean, I just love her. She's fantastic. And they lend themselves so well. Nothing, honestly, even though I have my own, I'm going to come to that one in a second, even though I have my own brand, Ribbon Candy Hooking, it breaks my heart every time that I hear about or become aware of a brand or a designer whose work is not available anymore, because I just feel that because we're all different and we like different things at different times and it always changes, I feel like everybody who has ever done work in this field and designed, that their patterns should always be available forever. Now, maybe that sounds like a pipe dream, maybe that sounds ridiculous, but I don't see why not, right? I don't see why not. If you love someone's work, you should be able to legitimately get it, right? Because you don't want to rip it off and not pay them. That's great information, Karen. I'm really, really happy about that. Autumn Rose. This is another antique rug. We've got about a 50-50 split today between the old and the new. I just love this rug. This is, for me, I'm fairly certain that this is not a commercial pattern. Let me take a little swig of my drink. You take a swig too. Control freak. Now you take a swig. This is like, to me, this, I like to picture the person who was making this, right? I feel like the person who was making this, if they did not have, I'm guessing it's a she, if she did not have art instruction, somebody probably said at some point, it's good to do things not in an even number, because that has been one of the basic rules of composition for hundreds of years. Even numbers create symmetry, but they lack interest, right? So just three, right? We didn't go to 5 or 7, just the 3 flowers, but absolutely beautiful flowers. And this is not a fold in half pattern. This is a drawn pattern. So this person was very comfortable with the central flower, those big petaled flowers. I love the one in the middle with all of the extra color and detail. And she was very comfortable with the oak leaf shape. And she was very comfortable with this other flower that she's doing, which looks maybe like a rosebud. Very pretty, very pretty. The way that very stylized, right? Like the way that the bud or the leaves are holding the bud in place is not super realistic, but it is super beautiful. And it's different for every bud. It's just such a beautiful piece. It looks like, if you look at where the oak leaves are placed, it's almost like she was trying to figure it out as she went along. Is there enough room here for this one? Does this make sense? Ooh, there's a little too much room here. Let me squeeze one in. I mean, this is the kind of story that you want to see it with an antique folk rug. When you're buying, you want to see something like this. You want to see, like I said before, the working process. Karen says she's collaborating with a pattern maker because she's so busy designing cross-stitch and punch needle designs. Hand tracing is, I wish it was me, Karen. I wish I knew that. I would have reached out to her for sure. Yeah, doing that kind of monkey's work is not, I shouldn't say monkey's work. Doing the tracing part is not always great when you have a busy business. It's becomes time, even with ribbon candy hooking. You know, there's a girl who I sometimes talk about on our page. She lives near me and she's got kids and she likes working at home. When I'm busy with things, she's just tracing my patterns for me, because it's not unique work, is it? And it's important to be cognizant of the fact that if you only have X amount of hours in the day, you have to do the things that are uniquely yours, and you have to let go of the reins and delegate the other things to other people, right? That's just the nature of business. Man, I'm sorry I didn't know that, Karen. I would have been all over her like a buzzard. This is another absolutely beautiful rug. So let's see what our next call is. Let me find this one, close it down for you. And we are on our next call. Oh, okay, so let me come here. That makes, I think, the most sense. All right, let's see. What do we got? We have got oak leaf floor rug. Oak leaf floor rug. Let's go. Oak leaf floor rug. Oh, okay. So, you know, this is quite like the one we looked at 2 or 3 slides ago, the Garrett Blue Nose. The one that had a lot of directional pull in the center. This is what they do. They do this architectural border with nothing on the inside. But you do see, I would say, while I'm traveling around looking at rugs, I would say 1/3 of the rugs that I see that are this kind of design or this design, they do have a number or something in the center. So it was an open field that you could occupy or not. You could populate it with something that was meaningful or not. This is another one very similar to the last one we saw, a little more color introduced here. Of course, people at this time, these rugs would be hanging in department stores. Remind me what the big department store in Canada is, or was. I'm not sure if it's still there. It's going to drive me crazy. We've been down this road before. I know somebody's going to say it, but they would have them hanging in the window. They had an association with the Garrett Bluenose back in the 19th century. Department stores, if they carried rugs, would have them hanging in windows and on displays. And can you believe that at that point, you know, I'm a big one for the history of department stores. That's like one of the subjects I've been researching for like 2 decades. Back in the day, like right through the middle of the 20th century, there was a rug department. And during certain periods when it was more fashionable to have like oriental rugs and Eastern imports, that's what they had. But in the early 20th century, with the arrival of the arts and crafts movement, handmade rugs, like hooked rugs, became much more popular. And department stores were stocking unique hooked rugs, some of them from the Maine mission rug, some of them from Cheticamp, wherever they could get them, right? They were buying them because they would sell like hotcakes. Can you imagine going into an antique store, a department store, and wandering into the rug department and finding unique rugs? We just don't, our stores just aren't like that anymore, are they? I can't imagine. But my point being, Stephanie says, used to go to Hudson Bay. The Bay, we used to have Sears. Nope, that's not those aren't the ones I'm thinking of. Not to be belligerent, I'm thinking of something else. It's going to drive me crazy. It was definitely in several different Canadian cities. I think it's defunct. I think they're all closed. Definitely not those, though. When you say it, I'm going to know it. Anyway, my point being that look at the way that these are split leaves again, right? You've got kind of half and half leaves going. I think the reason so many people are doing this technique is because they're seeing other rugs done. And other people have done the leaves this way. And they remember, nope, not Woodward's. That's a good one, Linda Ann, but that's not the one I'm thinking of. Eaton's. Barbara, that's it. Eaton's. That's the one. Simpsons too, but I was thinking about Eaton's. Because I have 2 biographies of Eaton's as a store. And they do talk about the rugs and stuff, which is really interesting. But yeah, this is something, this is the era of the rug that you would see hanging in a department store window. And it just is, I can't tell you how it makes me feel thinking about this rug, right? Possibly this very rug hanging in the window of a big department store. Because when something is hanging in the window of a department store, not so much now, right? Because we are all such stubborn little pigs. We all have a mind of our own. There's such an emphasis in modern times in each being different and unique, and that is a good thing. But we are not easily led the way that shoppers were led in past generations, right? So back in the day, if something was hanging in a department store window and it was that rug, you would say to yourself, my God, I would do anything to have that rug. That is the height of sophistication. That is the height of fashion, and that's what they wanted you to feel. And that's the way they sold. Anything that they put in those windows, they were the taste makers of that time. Now it's all these people on the internet and TikTok and everything. But at that time, it was these department stores, and what they showed you, whether you knew it or not, you were about to get stomach cramps because you had to have that thing. You would move the earth to have that thing as a homemaker. It's just the way that it was in that generation. Right through like the post-war years, it was like you're being programmed to want a specific thing. And a rug that looked like that was what you wanted at that time. Melanie says, this looks like a transom window with the light coming through. It absolutely did. That real architectural look, kind of a cloisters look, right? Like not so much ironwork, but it looked like stonework. Really, really specific, right? All right, let's see what we got here. Yep, making sure I can read my handwriting. All right, let's see. Okay, so this is another Doris Leblau. Let me show it to you, and you tell me what it's called. It's a game within a game. This one's a little bit out of focus. I'm going to turn this one into a pattern on Sunday when I come back from Rhode Island. Yeah, let me know what I called this one. It's not impossible that I called it Doris Leblau, but I'm hoping I didn't. I hope I had a better word for that. I absolutely love this pattern. And as I say, I'm going to put this available in the Ribbon Candy Hooking store on Sunday. Some of the ones we're seeing tonight are available at Ribbon Candy Hooking because I have a lot of antique patterns in there. This is one I must have. This one to me is like a weird fractured kaleidoscope leaf, right? Because if you look at this in terms of the square units, it almost looks like squares of a quilt. Leaves. Doreen, it's just called leaves. That's entirely possible. The names tonight are a bit of a testament to how tired, and I was already feeling a little bit unwell last night after the Amish toothbrush class I did. I came home and it was late and I hadn't eaten it. Man, I was losing my mind. But I will go with leaves. That sounds right. This pattern is so wacky. Doris Leblau leaves. Okay, thank you, Barbara. If you look at this, this is not symmetrical at all. This is not a person who took one block, right? Whether we're talking about it in quilting terms or in hooking, rug making terms, they did not take one block and transfer it to the rest of the piece. They didn't make it that easy on themselves. It would have been a lot easier had they but done that, but they did not do that. They had the idea for a motif that they would repeat pop art style. They didn't know that they were being Andy Warhol in the 19th century here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 4, so 24 units of this idea of having this leaf joined at the center, making like four points. It looks like they, unless they hooked it with a lot of maybe difficulty, it looks like they just kind of did it as they went along. It could be that every time that they had a stencil or a leaf and they were just doing it as they went along, because these rows are not balanced or lined up particularly well. It's not a complete disaster, but it's not symmetrical, right? You're not getting the feel that they have filled in shapes. You're getting the feel that some are tipped, some are bent, some are drooped, and that is what I love about this piece. You look at it at first glance, it looks like a bit of a crazy quilt. It's got that beautiful mossy background, very unusual choice. Steph says, and copy them. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it just seems so hard. It seems so hard the way that they've gone about it. Even if you just had a stencil of the outer shape, it would be easy to fill it in. This is definitely not done with a stencil of the outer shape, right? Because they are so different. For example, look at the right-hand side, the bottom two. It's kind of like, uh-oh. I mean, they're so beautiful. This is folk art. This is what I want when I buy a rug. I do not want a home goods rug. I want this exact thing. But I'm just feeling, I'm channeling the maker and thinking, the maker must have been frustrated, excited, right? Because this is a hit or miss pattern, believe it or not. Look at all the color changes, look at all the possibilities, look at all the small units for you to fill in. This is a hit or miss pattern. I'm hoping that as they went, they were not only satisfied, but proud of what they were accomplishing here, because it really is a phenomenal piece of work. If I saw this hanging at the Folk Art Museum in New York City, I would say, obviously they have this rug. Why shouldn't they? This should be right at the entrance when you enter the rug exhibit, right? Absolutely beautiful. Isn't this remarkable? And again, colors, right? And what are the colors saying to me with a rug like this? To me, they're saying I dyed all of these colors myself. They're saying I got a hold of some lighter fabrics. I had some berries, I had some bark, I had some leaves. All of those things turned to red and salmon. A little bit of orange. That mossy green can be had with like bark and branches, right? Juniper, that kind of thing. I'm thinking that the lighter white color is their base color. But these look like in the indigo. Of course, indigo is something that people have been dyeing with for many years. This is saying to me, I had a lot of a light material. I don't know why. This might not be wool, or it might be partially wool. But I did a lot of dyeing with stuff that I found in my yard. And even better, if that is the case. Even better. All right, let's close up this guy. Come over here and have another one of these. Whew, I kind of forgot about drinking wine, you know? You know how that happens? I don't want it to happen too much because I do love it. But I've been killing myself at the gym this week because I realized I keep buying all these expensive vitamins, and I think I have the menopause apron, whatever this like deformation is, and I'm just getting fatter and uglier and older every time I look at myself in the mirror. I've been killing myself at the gym, so I've been trying not to do too much of this because I feel like it's a bit counterintuitive when you're trying to do some kind of weight loss stuff. It does make me feel merry, though. I like that part of it. So, all right, next call. I did my stepping class today, even though I woke up at 4. I had this vision of tripping on this step and like breaking my teeth, that kind of thing. Thank God it didn't happen. Could have happened, but it didn't happen. Whew. All right, this call is Welcome Orchid. Welcome Orchid. Let me show you what it looks like. It's an oval rug. This is a dainty little thing, really charming. Wait till you see this. Isn't this so sweet? This reminds me, my grandmother did not have hooked rugs. She didn't have, I don't think she had rugs down at all. But if she did, I think she would have had something like this, because this is what all of her doilies looked like. She had a lot of doilies and stuff. My grandmother worked at a handkerchief factory when she was younger. She worked at the candy store in Boston of her sister, who had a candy store in Boston. They traveled very far from the sort of waterside part of Rhode Island, Warren, right? It's like near Newport. Um, to go to Boston to work at this candy store. And when the candy store closed, she started working in the handkerchief factory. And she folded handkerchiefs and boxes on a I Love Lucy type assembly line until she had like 100 kids, right? But she had a lot of linens and stuff. Even when I was young and I was staying with her, because my mom would work, and I would be at my grandmother's house during the day. Oh, thank you, Stephanie. I do feel good about myself. It's just when I look at myself, I go, oh my God, I'm so surprised. I got crepey skin. Keep watching these late night infomercials and stuff and going, oh my God, I got crepey skin. It is what it is, right? This reminds me so much of early 20th century embroidery, and I guess that's my point. I think it is so charming. It is such an organic design. It's probably a commercial design, but it doesn't have to be. It's a bit of a keyhole design tipped the other way. It's got some nice theatrical swags or valances coming, the top and bottom, coming off of the border. It's got these beautiful poppy type flowers that we see a lot in the storybook cottage images of the 1920s. This really is the flower of the time. And I don't think this is an orchid in the middle. It's just the color of the rug reminded me of an orchid. Look at the color movement, the purple inside the rug, and then look at this shade of green. It is that mossy army green, right? This could be an army color, right? This could be a World War I era rug. I think this is a 20th century rug. I don't think this is a 19th century rug because of the style. We don't see these kinds of flowers. We don't see these simple, like Sunbonnet Sue type flowers until we hit the 1920s. We don't at all see them. Maybe at the end of the 1910s with some of the theater designers at the time, like Erte, but not really, right? This comes in at the 1920s. It's just a beautiful center medallion that could easily be, right? Have you been into a beautiful house where there's a lot of carving or plaster work on the ceiling? Way up in the middle of the ceiling, you often see this exact flower. Sometimes there's a light bulb in the middle. Sometimes it's just carved or made of plaster. Sometimes it repeats, but this is the kind of design that this is. It is taken from arts and crafts that are around, and it could be a commercial pattern. The one thing that's making me think it might not be a commercial pattern, two things actually. Oh, Linda, my mother worked in a handkerchief factory in Warren, Rhode Island, Linda? You've got to be kidding me. We've got to follow up on this, because I wonder if it was the old American, I think it was the American Tourister factory after that. Became the suitcase factory, but before then it was the handkerchief factory. I wonder if it's the same factory. That would be crazy, because now I'm going to be there tomorrow. That's where, right down the street from there is where Haley, I forget her last name, Haley from Loop by Loop, her store is in like one of these industrial mills. Not that building, but one just like it, right near it. Linda, that is insane. We have to talk about this another time. That is insane. My mother's not on tonight, which is very worrying, because she normally would be, and she'd be chiming in right now, because that's her mom. That is absolutely crazy. It was the American Tourister factory after that when I was growing up. But before that, it was that handkerchief factory. And we still have boxes of handkerchiefs that, like, I will never get rid of, because I don't know if they're the ones that my grandmother folded or not. And she's been gone for years. So, oh, that is so cool, though. There are two things about this rug that are making me think it might not be. That's a remarkable coincidence. It might not be a commercial rug. One of them is that center motif with the flower in it, the shape around that flower is very awkward. You know what I mean? It is like a keyhole, but it's very awkward. It's not a great complement to the flower itself. It's not really doing much to set the flower off. And the second thing about the composition that's strange to me is that bar around it, the next border, is a bit of an odd thickness for me. I would expect it to be thicker or thinner, but that to me is a little bit clunky. Those two things together, and the fact that there isn't a valance off of the side flowers, make me think that maybe this is not a commercial pattern, but somebody might have seen something that was like this and thought, based on memory, I think this went here. I think, and it is a beautiful rug. Don't get me wrong. These are the curiosities that make these rugs so interesting and worthy of conversation. But those things stand out to me immediately as being not great design choices. That doesn't mean it's not an absolutely ideal rug. I would buy this rug if I saw it. Without hesitation, I would buy this rug. But that makes me think it might not be a commercial pattern, because when we're looking at commercial patterns, we're looking at the work of people who designed for a living. And they really were designers by occupation. They were very, very good at balance and symmetry. That rug lacks those things. It doesn't mean that it isn't a commercial pattern. It just means I think it's less likely, personally. But that's my opinion. It's not worth much. Yours is worth just as much as mine, without a doubt. We look at rugs together at least 3 times a week, right? All the time. We have spent, if you've been with me for a while, hundreds of hours together. So your guess is as good as mine. I don't know anything special or different than what you know at this point. We just have opinions now. And they should all be different and exciting so that we can do this for another 50 years at least, right? Eugenia, great to see you. Great to see you. Happy cocktail night. I'm going to take a break just to say, Eugenia, I'm happy to see you. It sounds like I'm using you, but I'm not. I'm very happy. Maine scroll. Maine scroll. Let me show you this. This is going to be another one of the Henry DuPont rugs from Winterthur or Chesterton House. This is, oh, good Lord. You see what I mean about this specific color of red? It's like a cadmium red. Very, very, very popular in Maine. Maine scroll. So this is a hooked rug, unknown maker, but another rug from Waldoboro, Maine. And they're dating it second half of the 19th century, 1850, we're going to say 1860 because that is more correct, to 1900, but they are making it a 19th century rug, cotton and wool. Very few rugs from the 19th century are made completely of wool. Why? Because there's so much other fabric out there. I mean, there's more than one season, right? Even in New England, there's definitely 4 distinct seasons. People had all different kinds of textiles around them, and they would use all of them. They didn't just use the wool. They were not of the mindset that we are today, where, you know, super persnickety, got to have a certain kind of wool. It must be the milled wool, must be a certain weight. It just didn't work like that. That is not the nature of this craft. If they had velvet, taffeta, silk, satin, cotton, wool, jerseys, they had jersey stockings, right, Grenfell, they would use all of it. They would use all of it in the very same piece. So this piece is 58.5 by 32.25 inches, substantial. It was given in 1956. So this would have been by George Tatum, and this is part of the Winterthur collection. So this would have been one of the rugs that was added after Henry DuPont was there and was choosing and collecting. This would have been outside of his lifetime. But again, it is the kind of classic, exemplary, really exceptional rug that even Henry DuPont would not have, I'm sure, quibbled about it all as having part of the collection space, right? This would have been something he would have absolutely gone for. Okay, we're getting there. I'm gonna cruise along a little bit faster, which means I need to shut up because you're very quiet, but I need to shut up. Let's see, hit or miss tree. Hit or miss tree. So here it is. Another beauty. I'm going to bring it in a little bit because it's a little bit out of focus. And again, pulling some of these off the internet, depending on the quality of photo that is loaded, you don't always get the ultimate sort of quality. So I'll make it a little bit smaller. It's a little bit easier to see. This is an extraordinary rug, hit or miss tree. So this one is dated what looks like 1895. This is absolutely, this is an extraordinary rug. This is so beautifully done. It does seem reminiscent of Me Too, Linda N. Me Too, Gail. I love this. Looks brilliant. Absolutely. What can you say about a rug like this? It's almost like it's riding on the coattails of the Jacobean period because of the shape of the tree. But this tree has the partridge in a pear tree feel kind of thing with this huge colony of birds in the tree, right? All of the leaves, look at the handling of the leaves, look at the veining on the leaves, some of them done in green, some of them done in wine colors and cranberries, so different. for this time, a 19th century rug, the color of the tree is curious. This is the era where everybody erred on the darker side, right? Everything was very somber in the Victorian period. It is magnificent. Everything, the whole mourning period was a result of us mimicking what was happening in England with the death of Queen Victoria. They were in mourning for so long, relevant now again, right, with the passing of the Queen in our lifetime this week. But they were so invested in the idea of mourning. Everything was done in dark colors. This is very different for that time. This is just an extraordinary piece. I like the dark background. I'm fascinated by this light honey-colored tree, and such a remarkable working of the central motif. Such a full, busy, but not confusing composition. Lots of red birds represented, probably because of that's what there was. Just a small amount of blue, probably again same reason. Just remarkable. And then to move to this huge, wide, staggered hit or miss border, the ultimate hit or miss border, isn't it? I mean, this is you. You can see this person sitting by the fire. Her little bag of scraps, her little scrap bag is rag bag is right beside her. She's reaching her hand in for the next color, and she's not even going to think about whether it's the right one or not. She's just going to grab it and hook it in. And this is what you get, this beautiful effect. It has a bit of a wood grain effect, but in Technicolor. All of these great colors. Scrappy masterpiece, but the center is very well executed. It is masterful. It reminds me a lot of a needlepoint from that time, or like a German work, like samplers, any kind of work done with a needle at this time. This would be the kind of motif that we'd be looking at. The fact that this kind of motif that is much more synonymous with needlework has in this case been combined with a classic rug making technique, hit or miss, to me is the absolute yin and yang. The balance here is outrageously exciting. And it just gives you ideas, right? Because if you're thinking about a rug, have you ever thought about putting a hit or miss border that size on it? And if you did think of it, would you think, I'm not sure if that's going to work? Well, it turns out it does work. It works great, really great. Mimicking a wood frame. It is like it is. It does have that grain look. I think the most common way of doing hit or miss at that time, and certainly the fastest, was to go in a directional way, to go straight across. Because, same for us today, when you're hooking something, like I'm working on my witches right now downstairs, I'm doing the silhouettes of witches. That's tricky because they have these gnarled like warts on their noses and these hooked noses and funny lips and weird brows and very, very sharp silhouettes. So a little bit more thoughtful while I'm hooking those, because I have to really pay attention to the lines because it creates the expression. But when I get to the frame of each one, I cannot wait because I do my straight shots down. And when I'm doing my straight shots down until I frame out the frame behind the witches and then I close in with color, I go as long as I can with straight shots because I can hook those twice as fast. Because I can see where that next hole is, it's right under. My hook just knows. It's like a homing pigeon. It just knows where that next hole is. So you can hook so much faster making straight lines like that. I think that's the reason most people did. And so many designs that we see, the checkerboard motifs with leaves in some parts or flowers in some parts, and every other checkerboard square is done with horizontal or vertical, but alternating, right? Hit or miss, because they're trying to get some speed going and some traction going. It's the quickest way to hook when you're running straight on any woven backing, right? And if you're hooking, you have to be on woven backing. Next call, this is another of the Nancy Thomases. This is the original series, Autumn. This is another exquisite one. I need more time because this is another one that I would love to hook. Nobody has hooked this one yet. I find that incredible. This reminds me of kind of like Jane Eyre, Valetti, like all of the late Victorian novels, right? Absolutely Wuthering Heights. I mean, it just has that feel for me. It's so charming. This woman all bundled up. Now, what did I say this was called? Original series, Autumn. animals in this one too, kind of the dog outside, sporting type dog, really enjoying the weather. Bird in hand, I don't know if that's a metaphor or if this is part of the storytelling of this piece. This is just a remarkable Nancy Thomas piece. Ribbon Candy Hooking, my company, has this piece. This is available. I don't know why nobody's chosen this so far. I absolutely love this. In terms of stylization, this could be a Vogue cover in the 1920s. It is remarkably strong, remarkably strong. The figure, right? Nancy Thomas always works in a way that's just so surprising for me, because the figure is very, right, Linda Ann, is very striking and is very correct in terms of fashion. Look at the fingers and the gloves. Like, it's correct. And then her hat, right? I love how her mouth is covered up. But then there are elements of it that are much more folky, like her face is handled in a much more folky way. She has a very distinctive, very Roman nose. Should we say it that way? She's got a Roman nose. And the dog underneath is very folky as well, right? He doesn't really look like any one breed. He looks a little bit morphed. That is part of the folk charm of this piece. So there's such a combo. I love it too, Gail. It's gorgeous. Such a combo going on here. The swirl of her scarf, the large pile of pumpkins in the distance, the smaller pile of pumpkins immediately behind her. It is just an extraordinary piece. Do you see the way that the greenery is coming up both sides like columns and lacing through the birch trees in the distance? Remarkable. With Nancy Thomas patterns, I always include a picture of the color piece, this piece, right? Because if I were hooking this piece, I would really want to see where the highlights are. Because look at the highlights to the top right at the top of the hill, and then on the left-hand side is much lighter than the right-hand side. I would want to do that too, because I know that it works, because it's already been done in painting form, so I know that it works. If I strike out and do something different, I'm not sure it's going to work as well. Very painterly. It is, Steph. It's super, super painterly. Even the fact that her gloves are a different color green than any other green in the piece, sticking with these autumn colors, really exciting. The stillness of the bird, the barking of the dog, right? It's a very poetic piece. It's a very lovely piece. Maybe next year I can get to that one. I'm working on a bunch of Halloween ones of my own. I've been like, you know, when you get into a thing where, I mean, sometimes I don't feel like designing stuff for like 6 months, and I cannot be forced. I'm like donkey in a tin stall. You cannot force me. I will kick. I will make all kinds of noise and kick. It's just not happening. And then other times of the year, like this week, I can't be stopped. I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning drawing all these Halloween pictures, and I love all of them. So it just goes to show, just like Henry David Thoreau said, you know, if you have the liberty and the privilege of being able to work with your own body clock, you should. If you want to wake up at 4 and you are wide awake and you are on fire to conquer the world, you should, if you can. And if you want to work on this thing today and that thing tomorrow, you should. Because working against yourself, your nature, and your body, it's never going to be a good formula. It's always going to end in upset and wasted time, and maybe bad work, right? You always want to do what is right on the surface at that moment. You will get the best results, whether you're hooking, designing, or what? Sleeping, right? Do it when you feel like it. All right, so this is the Joan Moshimer. This piece is called Falling Leaves. Falling Leaves. Let me show you this. This is another great beauty. Falling Leaves, Joan Moshimer. This is one of my favorite Joan Moshimers. This is just one of these classic. This is a little bit out of focus. This appears on the Cushing website, and this was hooked by Kay Fleskas, Fleskesk. I know she's on with us sometimes. I'm pretty sure she is anyway. Falling Leaves, and again, this is a Joan Moshimer pattern. Cushing has all of the Joan Moshimer patterns, right? So this is certainly one of theirs. What is going on here? God, so many things, all of them good. There are several examples of this on the Cushing website. So this was my favorite of the ones that I saw hooked for the Joan Moshimer pattern, Falling Leaves. I absolutely love it. I love the very formal shape of the inside border, right, with the circles around the edges. It looks like a empire-style table or something like that. It's very, very rigid. And then all of these leaves placed almost like in a scrapbook page or something, like you're examining each one, looking at the coloring of each one, and then the border, truly hit or miss again. Truly hit or miss. So again, we're looking at a great example of autumn leaves colored differently, a real rainbow, exquisite mixture of colors, dark, light, dull, bright, and then into the border, absolute, chaotic, wonderful, cat's paw, hit or miss, crazy times, pandemonium. And it's a wonderful balance. The colors are great. In general, darker colors in the border. In general, lighter colors inside. Of course, there's a good mix because there's a good balance. But the border is mostly dark and super effective. All right, let's come. I'm going to speed up. Let me come over here. I can also feel my sore throat kicking back in. And I want to be well for tomorrow to go to Rhode Island to that meeting. I'm going to make a post about that so you see everything that was happening there and see some of the rugs people are working on too. I'll make sure I take lots of pictures. Next call, this is one of my all-time favorite rugs, Autumn Memories. Autumn Memories. So let me show you this one. Autumn Memories. Now, we have seen, this is from I Love Rug Hooking. So if you love this pattern, you will find it at the website that is called I Love Rug Hooking. And again, it's called Autumn Memories. Just like with the Cushing website, there are several examples of this one. I did not see the maker's name on the website, so I was not able to include it. I know we've seen this rug before. I know 2 years ago when I was first starting the channel, I looked at this rug in different colors. I feel like the rug was more pinks and purples. This one is much more autumn colors, absolutely the same pattern. What is going on here? This is astonishing. This is astonishing. These sort of sunflower motifs that are very folky, right? With this sort of waffle look happening. Brilliant. Brilliant. Against a checkered background. Brilliant. The checkered background is not an oval. Even more brilliant. And then these oversized acorns. I mean, could the squirrel ever get this acorn? Absolutely not. This is a Disney movie waiting to happen. Absolutely not. Everything is the wrong size. Fantastic. Oh no, I love this rug. Seriously, on to me. Oh, squirrels and acorns, Linda, and me too. And I saw a squirrel today, not with, well, with a black acorn, with a black, no, chestnut, it was black chestnut. I love it too. I love it. But 3 squirrels in this one, different poses. I just love this waffle-shaped flower happening. I love the inside. This is another, in huge part, hit or miss rug. In huge part. Looking at that center, those diamonds, right? That part is up to you. But it does read as kind of a God's eye view of a field, right? Very patchy, with some representations of flowers, berries, and some little woodland critters, right? Those squirrels. Absolutely beautiful. It's just a remarkable piece. It's another remarkable piece, but we have to keep going. So, let's see where we are. Next call is going to be another Nancy Thomas. I did a lot of hers because I haven't been talking about her lately. November. Can't remember if anyone's done this one yet. It's another beauty. Speaking of squirrels, yeah, I pulled these offline. I should have pulled them off my own site. A little bit out of focus. Sorry about that. I absolutely love this piece. So this is November. This is another one of her monthly ones. I have this at Ribbon Candy Hooking. Squirrel with his nut. Lots of movement. He's still for a moment, but you can see, I always feel so bad for squirrels and chippies and everything because it's like they are constantly alert. It seems like they never rest for a split second. Like their life is spent on this high alert. And that's kind of this moment. Like he seems still for a second, but he's ready to spring. I love the way that he feels. I love the penned off feels in the background. It makes you think, are they, looks like horses for the big one, maybe sheep in the distance, and then classic primitive house. Nancy Thomas always does the coolest stuff with colors. She's got an aubergine or an eggplant colored sky going on there. That really is cool, isn't it? So this is Nancy Thomas November. And making some fast calls now, man. All right, number 2 for me, for you. Scrappy Scroll. Scrappy Scroll. This is another beautiful antique rug, 19th century rug, could be early 20th century. I think it's 19th century. This is another one that is very similar to the one we saw earlier, the Garrett Blue Nose pattern. I'm guessing this is also a Garrett Blue Nose pattern. I would bet a lot of money that it is. Even simpler, very simple and careful placement of color, lots of directional hooking, but you can see how much color you can put into a very open and plain ground like this. Very measured placement of leaves with this. So if you are someone who likes the less is more sort of principle, This might be a rug that appeals to you, and the fact that in the background you have carte blanche to go wild in any way that you want. Doesn't have to be this rigid, doesn't have to be this measured and directional. It could be wild and crazy marble cake, whatever you like. But this is another one of these great early patterns that lends itself to a lot of interpretations. All right. Next call. Oh, this is one I did a couple years ago. Try to remember. We had a lot of classes. This was out of stock. I put this back in stock this week on ribbon candy hooking. Try to remember, based on the Schmidt and Jones song from my favorite musical of all time, The Fantastics, sung by Jerry Orbach, one of my favorite singers ever. It's certainly my favorite song of all time. Absolutely loved making this piece. This is something I designed. I loved making it. I loved everything about it. I did many classes 2 years ago when I first did this piece. One of them was in Kennebunkport, Maine, putting this together, because it is actually a very easy pattern to make. So this is in the Ribbon Candy Hooking Store if you're interested in it. I love to mix pinks with fall colors. That's like one of the things I consider my signature things. Color placement is completely up to you in a piece like this. You come with a lot of mixed colors. That is supposed to come out looking like a bit of an antique piece because there's so many mixed colors in the background. Again, this piece is called Try to Remember. This is one of my favorite pieces that I've ever done. All right, I think we must be here. I'm keeping an eye on you too. I think we got a couple more calls before we're at bingo, but we're certainly getting there. All right, the next call is Maple Leaf Square Dance. This is another antique rug, Maple Leaf Square Dance. Let's see. Oh gosh, no, wait a minute. I pulled the wrong one up. That could have been bad. Hold on one second. Yep, got it. Wait a minute. I'm drooping. All right, hang on. My finger's not even working. There we go. Maple Leaf Square Dance. Thank you, Ryan. This is another one of these older patterns. This is, again, I feel like it must be a Garrett pattern. It's the structure. It's what it reads to me like. It could be something else. I'm gonna have to go through my heirloom book too, because they teeter on the same style. Split leaves, right? Split leaves were kind of the thing in terms of executing them. People looking at each other's work. Some of these, like the one on the top left, almost looks like the Italy flag, doesn't it? You got some tricolor ones going on. I guess it depends on what you've got. Gosh, the cat just came out from under the bed and scared the bejesus out of me. Pitter pat, honey. Lots of nice split colors here. Lots of beautiful colors. Just dancing leaves all over the place. Two different neutral grounds, a light gray and more of a dove gray. Absolutely beautiful together. They did have black, but they still went with the lighter ground. I think that is just remarkable choices. Really beautiful. Look at the way in the center oval, the red and green leaves, how they tried to get kind of a mirror image of those. Oh, Doreen, is there bingo on card number 10? There is. Okay, yep, I saw you wrote that twice. Anybody else with card number 10? I just want, Doreen, I absolutely believe you. I just want to be sure, because we usually get it a little bit later. So I just want to be sure. And of course I believe you. I adore you and I believe you. I'm just confused and surprised because we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, we have 6 more calls. It's not impossible. I'm wondering if, okay. It's usually when we're 3 away. Okay. You're so close though. Okay, no problem. Okay. Let's keep going. It could yet be. And we are definitely here. Next call is, now we know we're close, huh? Pressure is on. The next one is Lynn Wells, Birds in the Border. Birds in the Border. And it looks like this. That's what it said the name was online. And this is another one of these beautiful patterns from the online site called I Love Rug Hooking. It is by Lynn Wells, L-I-N, Wells, W-E-L-L-S. Again, I Love Rug Hooking, and it is, oh, I know, I did too. One left, Melanie. I think we're all teetering on one left. You should be pretty close to the end. We're getting there. Birds in the Border. This is just a beautiful piece, right? I mean, this sort of rainbow peacock feel to it. Beautiful, busy border. Again, Lynn Wells. And this pattern is available on I Love Rug Hooking. I love this pattern. It has the look of an antique pattern, and it is not. I am speeding up. I feel like we're chomping at the bit now because we are so close. Um, the next call is going to be, this might be the one, Amy Oxford, Tiny Leaves. I'm sorry, I meant to say Amy Oxford, Tiny Leaves. Let me bring you to Amy Oxford, Tiny Leaves. This is obviously an Amy Oxford pattern, and it looks like this. So as you know, Amy Oxford is the iconic signature puncher of all time, punch needler. And this is one of her patterns, Tiny Leaves. And we have seen lots of patterns tonight with leaves that are split, abstracted, broken down into different colors. This is a modern example of that exact principle. When you're thinking about your autumn rugs, when you're thinking about your autumn leaves, and you're thinking about breaking down a simple organic pattern like a leaf, think about this, right? We've just seen the split and the quarter, the Italian flag, that was almost a terrible word, different kinds of multis within a leaf pattern. This is a much more structured breakdown from leaf to leaf. It has that pop art repeat feel, but you can see in every leaf, she has done something a little bit different. That creates play for you, that creates interest for the viewer, that creates beauty and perfection. So Amy Oxford, Tiny Leaves, and, oh, this is definitely our closest. If you're seeing this green, no, you can't see that green one. That is from our last game. So we've only got 2 calls after this. This might be the one. So next call is, sorry, I'm not doing this on purpose. I'm just all clumsy. Okay, wait a minute, I got my stuff out of order. Oh, another Nancy Thomas. So this says Nancy Thomas Autumn. Let me show it to you. Probably has a different name because I think we already had one of those. Let me show it to you. It looks like this. And please tell me what you have this as on your card. Remember, she did more than one series, and so she has more than one autumn. And if I called it something different, please let me know. But this is the image to mark off on your card. And on Ribbon Candy Hooking and in Nancy Thomas's portfolio gallery, this is another one that is called the exact same thing, Nancy Thomas Autumn. So 2 things. Let me know if you have bingo, and let me know, confirm what this is called on yours. This is another genius pattern from Nancy Thomas. Bingo card 2 gainer. Bingo card 2. Now this seems like the right time for bingo. Oh, I have 3 more calls. But yeah, this is usually where we get it. Autumn. Okay, thank you, Barbara. Just autumn. Bingo card 2. So I'm looking for, okay, Annie's got it as well. Excellent. Doreen, okay, excellent. Congratulations. It's card 2. Unless I hear otherwise, it's card 2. Melanie, are you also card 2? Fantastic. And you know, I'm going to wait and watch to see if there happens to be another card that has it, but it's usually just the one card. There are 12 cards, and usually one card gets it, which makes really good odds for the people who get it. As you know, I'm going to wait and keep an eye on the thread. I'm going to go for another 2 minutes because I have 3 more calls, and I don't want to not show you them. So the bingo is over. Bingo has been called. It is on card 2. But I want to show you the other ones that were in here very briefly. So if they are not antique rugs, yeah, this one is not. I want to show them to you because I can't just be using images. Oh, that was class. Okay, bingo card 2 looks like it. So let me show you this one. Congratulations, absolutely. Let me bring you here, and then I'm going to come back on camera for a second. And again, I'm running 3 more just to complete the commentary for tonight because I have used images, and I want to point out where the images are coming from. If you have bingo or not, you're about to log off. If you're going to log off now, before the last 3, it was wonderful being with you tonight. Happy weekend. Look for a post from me tomorrow when I'm at the Guild meeting in Rhode Island. I'll give you as much information, detail, and fun as I can from out of that meeting. Bingo winners are on card number 2. Congratulations. Well played, everyone. If you have one tonight on card number 2, you will get an email later that shows you the breakdown of the just over $200, how many people had card number 2, what your amount is, and what your code is to use at the Ribbon Candy Hooking store. It does not expire. So if you don't want something now and you want to wait till the holidays or the new year, that's fine. If you have one and you want to use your money and you're not seeing something you want at Ribbon Candy Hooking, just let me know. because I have every kind of backing. I have hooks, I have punches, I have every kind of tool that you can think of. I don't always have everything listed. I'm a horrible computer person. But if you're looking for something specific, just let me know because I probably have it. Oh, but this is the next call, right, Brian? So this is Ryan. I'm sorry. This is, but not now, right, Ryan? This is the one after the post. This is where the heartbreak comes in. I'm going to keep going, but oh, so still card number 2. You scared me. Still card number 2. So let me just show you the last images. And again, I'm doing this because I've used them on our cards, and I feel like a skunk if I don't. I just want to show you the last 3 things that I use. This is very different. This is produced. This is a latch hook kit, right? This is a 1970s vintage kit that is currently on eBay. It is produced by L Textiles, who did a lot with vintage kits, right? And particularly with latch. But this is just another beautiful, very simple pattern. Sometimes latch hook stuff is just over the top crazy. Heartbreak. I'm sorry, Ryan. I'm sorry. So close, right? Next time. It's got to be next time. But this is just a great example of a pre-printed, color-wise this is printed, latch hook pattern. This is an L pattern. If you like it, it is on eBay now. And let me see what else I have. Let me get rid of this. And I'm going to quickly bring you, without coming back to my face, I'm going to quickly bring you to the other 2, and then we are going to sign off. So the next one is, oh, this was a great one. I wish this one came up during the body of the show. Let's see. This is a Maine mission rug, and I did a full show, if not several, on the Maine mission rugs, right? This is one of the, this is super out of focus, but this is what I got on the internet. This is the Maine Seacoast Mission hook rug, capturing life from the perspective of a fisherman's wife. This was part of an article for Rug Hooking Magazine, June, July, August of 2014, written by Judith Berger Gossart. And she is talking about this particular rug was hooked by a woman called Mary Ann Bunker, who was known to have hooked about 150 rugs. This one is entitled Autumn Birches. And she hooked this in the 1920s. So this is full blast jazz age. This could not be any different. Just to remind you, this is the book we were pulling from when we talked about the Maine mission rugs. So if you haven't seen this episode, go back to it this weekend. It's a wonderful episode. Very, very poignant, very, very heartfelt and sad episode. Dave said, I had 8 and 9. I need a bottle of red wine. Excellent poem. Excellent poem. I think we loved this episode. So that was one of the Maine mission rugs. And the last one for tonight is, it's number 1. Isn't that weird? I didn't call number 1. Chessboard Leaves. So let me show you that one. And that is an antique rug. So it's not like we need to credit it. Thank you. I have all the winners' names right here. So hold on one second. This is the last rug for tonight. So this is an antique rug. This is what I was just talking about, these checkerboard patterns that in every other square there's like a straight up hit or miss. Really adorable. What I really like about this one is that it has 3 X's as the signature. Isn't that odd? Have you ever seen that before? So I'm coming back to you. And it looks like our winners for tonight are Helen David, my mother, Gaynor, Joy, Annie, Jane Davies, and she's in Wales, so she's definitely asleep. She better be asleep. Melanie, Doreen, and everybody is going to get $29, which is an excellent return on $3 tickets, right? So well done, everybody. That will go out tonight. If you think that there's been any mistakes made, obviously write to me. But it seems like it was just card number 2 that was the winning card. And again, well played, everybody. Well played, everybody. We're going to go back to doing this every month, so we can enjoy another shot at it next month. But the play's the thing. The playing's the thing, isn't it? A really fun bingo night for me too. I'm going to go back to my Halloween pictures. I'm going to be busy tomorrow. Look for some posts online. I posted another one of these 60-second shorts today. Look for all that stuff online. I'm trying to put plenty of stuff up there for you in case you're bored. Happy weekend, everybody. I will see you on Monday for coffee time. I can't wait. Have a great weekend. And if you need me, you know you can find me at ribboncandyhooking.com right anytime, especially with your gallery night stuff 2 weeks from now. I'll see you then.